welcome to a shitload of sports. Joe Pietaro here with the man himself, Keefus.
I'm back.
He's
I'm
back
in pink.
Look at him. He's
back in pink.
He's ripped. He just needs a shave. He's got that George Michael look going.
Ooh, meet me in the bathroom.
I want your sex.
Yeah, freedom.
All right. We are actually recording this on July 31st. It is 1:43 p.m. So
Twitter is up.
So it's obviously MLB trade deadline. And,
we'll talk about some of the deals that have happened already. Some of the deals that are in the works right now. And,
we don't know what's going to mean.
And just, what we might think might happen and what won't happen. More importantly, I think what won't happen, because I don't think there's going to be as many moves as people think they are. Mm-hmm. But let's talk about what's happened. First and foremost, obviously, the latest trade was Trevor Bauer went from the Cleveland Indians to the Cincinnati Reds. The Cincinnati Reds sent the prospect Trammell to the Padres, and the Padres sent Franmil Reyes to the Indians, and the Reds sent Puig to the Indians. So the Indians now, who were left-handed heavy, are now got two power bats.
Yeah.
Franmil Reyes, who we saw play the Padres live against the Mets, he's not a butcher, but he's not exactly Trout in the outfield. So he will definitely take a DH role where Puig will be more of an outfielder.
He's got a nice fucking gun, yeah.
So that's probably where that's going to go. Bauer. What is Cincinnati doing? I mean, they still have Scooter Gennett that is on the block, supposedly. Are they gearing up for next year? That's what I think. I think that they're not really building for necessarily a run this year. I think they're setting themselves up nicely to make a run for it next year.
You made an analogy when we were on the phone talking about that, and I would love for you to say it because it deserves to be put on the air.
The sex analogy?
No, not the sex. The glory hole, not the glory.
Oh, okay.
The Wimpy.
Yeah, Wimpy.
The strategy of teams, and we're going to talk about the Mets.
Yeah, I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today.
Explain that to the ladies out there.
Oh God, I think what's happening is a lot of guys are saying, for example, the Mets. Let's just go right into the Marcus Stroman deal. I think the Mets got rid of Vargas. They sent him to the Phillies for Jeff Wilpon's son's college baseball teammate and roommate, who was hitting 195 in Double-A.
Backup catcher
for Jason Vargas. Well, is that a salary dump? Yes, probably, knowing that they want to get something for Vargas, knowing that he was going to be a free agent at the end of the year. But I think what they did is replace him with Stroman for next year. I mean, as much as the Mets can go on a run and do it well, I don't think
not going to do it. They're not making the playoffs.
They're not going to do it this year. I don't think Syndergaard will move for the Mets. I think Wheeler might.
It's okay.
I think definitely Lugo's moving, and maybe Gazelman. I don't think Diaz is moving. I think that they're going to hold him and cross their fingers and hope to die that he does better next year. Familia might move, but he might move to the Atlantic League and play for the Long Island Ducks. At a 7 ERA, I don't think he's moving anywhere.
Oh, my God.
He might be a throw-in.
Terrible bust coming back. I thought it was great when they did it.
But look to see Seth Lugo maybe go to a team like the Red Sox. Look for Gazelman, maybe a team like the Oakland A's, who are, again, it amazes me how good that organization is as far as drafting and year in, year out,
postseason bound or in the mix till the end.
Exactly, as well as the Cardinals. The Cardinals are back in the mix.
Yeah.
So I could see those players moving off the Mets. Also, Todd Frazier. I could see Todd Frazier.
Same difference.
Making a move. I could see Todd Frazier going to Minnesota.
Contract is up. Why not move him? Get something for him. It's the same thing like with the Vargas. So they got
right.
a bag of balls for him, but it's better than nothing.
So that's what I think Cincinnati's plan is.
Yeah.
Top free agent, obviously, that everybody's talking about is Madison Bumgarner. Next year, is he going to get traded this year? This kind of comes down to what he wants to do next year. Does he want to sign with San Francisco? What he could do, and what New York Islander fans were begging John Tavares to do, is say, listen, I'm going to sign either somewhere else next year or I'm going to sign with you next year. That's a definite. I suggest you trade me and get for me what you can, and I will either sign with you next year or sign with somebody else, get something in. I don't think Baumgartner is going to do that. I don't think he's going to tip his hand. I think he's going to stay in San Francisco and sign with San Francisco next year. Why, ruin a good thing? I don't, unless someone blows San Francisco out of the water. But he's got a lot of no trade clauses.
He's still young, and they got themselves back in the race with an amazing run after the All-Star break.
Yeah,
I think that 3 out of 4 against the Mets was part of it.
I don't think. All right, and as far as my team, the New York Yankees, I don't think that. I mean, right now,
very quiet.
Zach Greinke is pretty much shutting them out after 2 innings. They're on right now.
They're doing a fucking matinee.
Right, they're doing a getaway day matinee. Yeah. I think that the Yankees, at best, they're in for Mike Minor from Texas.
Mm-hmm. Who's serviceable.
But if Texas asks for too much, which would be Clint Frazier, which they would consider too much, or...
What about Wheeler? Wheeler's good.
I think... But again,
would you go Frazier Wheeler? Because if you're the Mets, you jump on that.
You know what? I don't think the Mets would take that, and you know why? Because they are
too many outfielders.
They are outfield heavy. With Nimmo, and then Cespedes. What are you getting from him next year? And Frazier is not exactly, he ain't Clemente out there.
No, I would do it only because I think Wheeler is. I think they have a chance to pull a Chapman with him.
Right.
Have him go as a rental somewhere, get something for, and that was a great trade by Cashman, by the way.
Right, they got.
And even if they didn't get around whatever Chapman, Chapman back, it was a great trade anyway.
Right.
He recognized.
Well, that's why Clint Frazier came from the Indians for Andrew Miller.
So they got rid of their 2 left-handed. Both of them could be closers, but obviously for the Yanks it was a setup and a closer. And they ended up retooling a depleted farm system, and they still have good farm system even with those trades. It just added to that. But I would love to see the Mets trade Wheeler, and I would love to see Wheeler back with the Mets because I'm a big Zach Wheeler fan. I think that's when they first started when they traded Beltran to the Giants and got Wheeler in return, it started their youth rebuilding project. And then they obviously had, they made the run in 15. And now they've got to redo that a little bit now because the Harvey thing kind of derailed that and the Cespedes injury thing derailed that. So I like Zach Wheeler. I think that they have a shot on bringing him back. He's also said that publicly, that he's not opposed to coming back to the Mets regardless of if he gets traded or not now.
Sure.
But the Yankees do need to, I know they have a nice lead and all, but Boston's starting to get hot. There's other teams in the AL that, like Cleveland's starting to make a run. I think they're going to bypass the Twins.
The Twinks.
The Twinkies. You always got to worry about, when you're playing a team like Boston, if they make the playoffs and they see each other down the road.
Checking Twitter, just every time something pops up, I'm checking the feed.
Checking Twitter. But I think the Yankees do need to make a move. I don't think they need to make a back page splash type of move, but sort of how when they picked up, like Frazier when they got him, and who's the Garcia, the guy from the Twins or whatever. Mm-hmm. They added a couple of spare parts that ended up doing pretty good for them.
But you got to remember, though, those were hitters. J.A. Happ last year was
a good deal.
He pitched well for them.
But
they don't have a great history of getting pitchers at the deadline. The last quality pitcher at the deadline I remember them getting was in 95, and it was Cone, who stayed with them obviously into 96 and wound up joining their championship team and being a key part of their championship teams throughout that time.
Yeah.
The Denny Nagels of the world,
never worked out for them.
These
Eric Shao. Didn't he blow his brains out? I think he committed suicide in retirement.
And Donnie Moore. Yeah,
Moore did also.
They have a great history of getting position players, whether it be David Justice or Charlie Hayes or any one of those guys, but they just don't have. At least Cashman doesn't have the history, and that was Bob Watson back then with Cone. That wasn't even Cashman.
Yeah.
He does not have the history of bringing in phenomenal guys as far as pitchers go.
Yeah,
it's really just position players that he has a great history of bringing in quality guys that make a mark.
Yeah.
In a championship run or in the championship.
Yeah.
But another guy I think might move would be Shane Green, former Yankee reliever for the Detroit Tigers. Detroit's been out of it since
opening day.
Yeah, May 15th. Since the call up the call ups of like the rookies that year so you can get an extra year of
eligibility.
So I think that once the deadline's over, you'll see Shane Green. I possibly see him with the Dodgers. Getting
good
another,
middle guy.
Good middle guy. He closes now for Detroit, and he's been solid. So
he got some big outs for the Yanks against the Indians in that series a couple of years ago.
Yeah, when Jabba was getting attacked by the midges, too. I think that I could see him with the Dodgers setting up for Kenley Jansen.
Dodgers are stacked.
The Dodgers are ready to the two-time losers in the last two World Series.
Maybe they're overdue.
I could see them making a big run this year. But look, they lost a bunch of times in the 70s, and it wasn't until 81 that they won. Mm-hmm. And then again in 88, but, yeah. Anal Hershiser. Another question is, what do the Padres do? Now, the Padres and the Braves have hands down the best farm system, 1-2 farm systems in baseball. Mm-hmm. So the question then becomes,
you sacrifice some of that?
Yeah, are people starting to pick? Well, the Braves they're in first place in the East, so they're going to make a run this year. The Padres, not so much. The Padres might be looking to form for next year because they're such a young team. But do they look to pick parts out? Are they willing to get rid of Kirby Yates and maybe one of their prospects or two of their prospects to get a pitcher under control? That's what I think they were looking at Syndergaard for.
Because he's under control.
Because he's under control. So, who else is under control? Wheeler's not. So I don't think the Padres, I think if they do move Kirby Yates, they're going to look to bring in AAA level guys that can play next year and contribute next year, or even guys that are playing this year and contributing.
Supposedly the Mets pulled Syndergaard off the market because they wanted major league ready guys, establish somebody that could go in young, obviously, and also top prospect. So I'm glad they pulled him back because he was my pick for the Cy Young last year. Remember the Grom.
I think the Braves are going to they're definitely going to be buyers, not
they have
sellers.
To be. Why wouldn't they be?
They have Dallas Keuchel now, and they did make a smaller trade, getting a reliever.
Soda. What was it?
From
Mullins.
Yes.
What's it? Soda? What the fuck? Romo.
Sergio Romo.
Not Tony. Yeah. Not to be mistaken. No. Tony Romo, former quarterback.
Or Tony Roma's House of Ribs.
Yeah, yes, I used to love Tony Roma's. I forgot all about. See,
place for ribs.
These fucking memories. But so that's pretty much it at this hour right now. We got some time.
This is what we have now. So
remember, 5-4, the Mets got Cespedes.
Yes, they
after
did.
the night before the fucking Carlos Gomez deal fell through, thankfully for them, because Wheeler was going in that trade. So.
And speaking of 5-4, that the horse that Cespedes fell off of is running right now at Saratoga, going off 5-4.
Only the fucking Mets.
Only the Mets.
Gonna have a guy rehabbing, get a worse injury. Oh my God! All right, let us know what you think. Put it on the comments, and we'll see you next time.
Take care.